So just a reminder, our exam will be 10 days from today, October, sorry, not October. I'm still living in October. February 14th, it's a Friday or something. Yeah, next week, Friday. So I'm going to post the review sheet soon, and you'll see almost all the questions we did in class will be in the review sheet. My exam will be based on the review sheet, but review sheet has more questions, exam will have less questions. And it will have different numbers and probably different variable, different scenario, okay? But if you study the review sheet very well, you know what to do in the exam. Any question before we start from anything? Go ahead. I think the exam is, but it will be roughly about 15 to 20. Around 15. 15 is a good number. Any question from your homework, from last class in general? Next homework due? So next set of homework we'll do next Monday midnight. It will be probably 3.5, 3.6, and probably 4 point something, 4.12 something. Because I didn't change anything yet. I'm going to change them as we go in the lecture. So based on how much you cover in 1 week, I'm going to put the deadline on Monday midnight for that many sections. I actually don't post the lecture notes because you have to see them, you visit the videos. That's why I posted the videos. So if you want to, you don't know the videos? Come on. So it's in Brightspace, but if you can access them directly from YouTube. So if you want to access directly from YouTube, you go to, so that's the channel name. And then you see under playlist, we have our first playlist is our class 1023 Spring 25. So you go there. Oops. Yeah, you can go to the playlist, view playlist, and you see all the classes we did is here. For some reason, it's not clicking the right one. I need to click it. Yeah. So see all the classes for last 3 days. It's there. And I have 2 sections, DTFA and DTFA. So your class is DTFA. But I'm teaching the same exact materials. So either one is fine. Okay. So that's why I don't post the annotated lecture notes because I already posted the pre-lecture notes. So pre-lecture notes are on Brightspace and you can use them during class to write down like me. You can write them down on your notepad or notebook. And then if you miss something, you can watch the recording. No problem. Any question? Any other question? No? So in our last class, we started section 3.5. And we said in 3.5, we're going to do 3 scenarios. And we finished 1 scenario where we had 2 points and we found the equation of the line that goes through the 2 points. And in order to do that, we said mostly it's 2 steps and then the rest are simplifying. So in the first step, we find the slope, we use the slope formula. Because anytime you are finding equation of a line, most of the time you need to see the slope that will tell you what the equation of the line. So we first need the slope. Once you get the slope, we pick one of the points given to us, and then we substitute everything into point slope format. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And the rest are just simplifying based on your multiple choice. If the multiple choice has this format, that means you are done, you don't have to do anything else. But most of the time, department loves to see standard form. So in order to convert everything into standard form, we don't want to see any fraction or any negative numbers. For x, so for fraction, we divide every term by the denominator if you have the same number. But if you don't have the same number in the denominator, you need to find the LCD, the denominator, to multiply each term. And then we want x and y together. So we do whatever I need to do to bring x next to the y. If we end up getting x negative, you just switch the sign for everything and x will become positive. Now we have the second scenario. When I talk louder, I get cough. So in this scenario, we are given the slope and the points. So they are telling us, write the equation of the line that has a slope negative 7/2 and it goes to the point negative 4,1. So the negative 4,1, 1, 2, 3, 4. They give us the point and they give us the slope. Based on the slope, can you tell what type of line you're going to have? Increasing or decreasing? Decreasing, because our slope is negative. So they want us to find what's the equation of this line. It will be a decreasing one, but what's the equation of this line that goes to this point with this slope? So that's the scenario. In order to find, is exactly the same as what we did in our first scenario. In the first scenario, they did not give us the slope, so we had to find the slope manually. In here, they gave us the slope already, so you don't need to find it. We're going to substitute everything into the equation and then simplify. So if you know the first scenario, you know how to do the second scenario. So we'll start with y minus y1 slope x minus x1, because we have all the information we need. The only thing we're not going to substitute is the x and y. Every equation has x and y. So besides x and y, we are going to substitute everything else. So we have y minus y1. What is our x1? Sorry, what is our y1? 1. So they give us these points, and our slope is negative 7/2 x minus negative 4. Perfect. Common mistake, people see negative 4 and just write x minus 4, which is wrong. 4 has a negative, but your formula also has another negative. So you have double negative, not one negative. And what happens when you have double negative? Turn to positive. So we actually have y minus 1 equals negative 7/2 x plus 4. This is the equation of the line, but we cannot stop. Why not? Because look at the choices. We have to write this into standard form. Even though in the equation they told us. Sometimes they'll not mention in the equation, they will say, find the equation of the line. And then you look at the multiple choice. What is the format you see in the multiple choice? Based on the format, we want our final result in that format. Yeah, because this is also equation of the line. But we are not that lucky, okay? So we have to convert this into standard form where x and y together. What do you do now? Next step. Distribute. So we distribute our slope negative 7/2. We get y minus 1 negative 7/2 of x. And then negative 7/2 of 4. What do we do here? So do you multiply both top and bottom or only the top? Only the top. So you multiply 7 and 4, you get negative 14 half. And what is 14? 7. So we have negative 7 half x, y minus 1. But let me show you a shortcut. Why do you need 7? Come on. Yeah, my bad. The answer is 14. What is 7 times 4? 28. And what is half of 28? 14. See, my brain knows the answer, and then it throws the answer with 2. Okay, let me tell you a shortcut. So we have, come on. We have 7 half of 4. Now we know that this 4 is in the numerator, right? So anytime you have a number on the denominator and a number on the numerator that you can divide, you can actually always cancel them. You can divide this 4 by 2, you get the answer 2. So 2 goes to 4 twice. We're allowed to do that because 2 is on the bottom, 4 is on the top. As long as 1 is on the top, 1 is on the bottom, we can always cancel them if it's cancelable. Right. So now you see 2 is on the top, 7 is on the top. So whatever we have on the top, you multiply them. So 7 on the top, 2 on the top, you multiply, the answer is 14. Why this method is easier? Because sometimes you may get a big number when you multiply them. And when you get a big number, you don't know how to divide the big number by the denominator. So you may get stuck. So that time, the simple shortcut version is easier to work with. You just cancel the denominator with the numerator to make things smaller. And when you have smaller things, it's easier to work with. Okay, so what do you do next? Isolate the y. So our 1 is whole number and 14 is also whole number. It's better we can combine our whole numbers, no problem. We have y equals negative 7 half x minus 14 plus 1. Negative 13. And now you're almost happy. We just have 2 problems. One problem, the denominator. Second problem, our x is on the other side. So which problem you want to get rid of first? The denominator problem or x on the other side? It's up to you. Denominator. So we want to see the denominator too. What can we do to erase that? But 2 is already dividing. If you divide more, it will get more denominator. So 2 is dividing, right? What's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So we are not going to divide because 2 is already dividing the 7. So we are going to multiply each term by 2. Because math is fair. We want to multiply this by 2 so we can cancel that. And see, we can cancel because 2 is on the top and another 2 is on the bottom. The same concept I use here. 1 is on the top, 1 is on the bottom. We can cancel them. We can divide them. So now you're happy, you know a denominator. We have 2y equals negative 7x minus, what is twice 13? 26. You guys are great, you know your math, which is cool. And now you have only one problem. Y is fine. We want x next to the y. So just bring that. 7x to both sides. We need to add because 7x is subtracting with the negative 26. And now finally we are happy. We have everything we wanted to have. 7. 7x plus 2y equals negative 26. Was there any part that was confusing to anyone? Last? Yeah. So standard form says bring x and y together. We have negative 7x. We want this 7x from right side to the left side. So how can we bring it? By applying the opposite thing. So 7x is negative here. If you add the 7x, it will go to the other side. Because we don't want to have denominator. Look at the choices. Does any of the choice multiple choice as denominator?
Oh yeah, I understand that part. So because it's denominator is 2, we multiply by 2.
So 2 divided by 2 cancel out. Any other question? Now, what do you think is the correct answer? A, B, C, D. Which one? B? B says 2x plus... No, C. C. In the final exam, they will be very close to one another. You have to be very careful to picking your correct choice. So answer is C. Question? Okay, then you try the next one. Same exact process. I want to take your attendance. I'm starting from today. I'm going to call your names. Brianna. Christina. Catherine. Jolene. Jolene Dong. Govan is here. Madison Field. Field, okay. Eric. Abraham. Abraham Garcia. Stephanie. Stephanie Gosaran. Leandra. Robert. Katie. T, right, Katie? Kimelsia. Maria. Cindy's. Michaela. Madison Orlando. Angie. Mazabin. Sorry, Mazabin. Melvelis. Melvelis Ramos. Giselle. Mohammed. How do you pronounce your last name? No, Sbibeiti. 70, okay. And you said to call it Tahsin, right? Tahsin. Gavin. Gavin Simon. No. Sorry, I have two Brianna. Brianna Almonte and Brianna Texas. Which one is you? Texas, okay. Carla. Yvette is here. Nicholas. Danielle. And Hassan. Hassan. Nah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Ready? Not yet? Okay. 1 more minute. This is actually simpler than the other one. Much simpler. Done? Oh, yes. I'll do it one here. You want to know. No, you have one more. Oh, why? One, two, yeah. Why did you, what, 22, right? That's minus 22. I want to see, come on. I know to get there when you just something wrong, right? It's always the something. Yes, fine, the class one, how about the next one? We and units. Plus, right? Okay. And now, you have X positive left. You can bring it to like. This is very clear, you don't want to have a negative. So you want to make everything contain with this positive. If this become positive, then these two change their side. So you want to put everything that you want. The result or the sign will change to the next line. Right by the cheat. Positive cheat, you're supposed to write X first and then Y. Now when you X once, you'll see that you explained it. But you cannot have it. You want to take everything right now. Let's do it together. I want you to, you trust it all now? Almost have. So, we at least on 3.5 to the hotel. And how come they figured out about the hotel? Something in perspective. Oh. 20. What is 2 times 1? Why do you do that? How do you have that formula? It's half of 2. What is half of 2? Half of 2 And I'm going to home. One attempted when you multiply the count. Choose by okay. So how do you start with? Start with what? Y minus y1 slope x minus x1. That tells us this is x1, this is y1. So y minus what? 0, and our slope is x minus c double negative. So you cannot write x minus 2, it's x minus negative 2. What happens to the double negative? Positive. And what is y minus 0? You have y dollar. You did nothing with the dollar. How much you have? Still y dollar. So y 1/2 x plus 2. Next up, distribute. We can do fraction, but people actually get confused trying to get it a fraction here. So that's why I distribute fast and then get it as a fraction. So we have y equals 1/2 x plus 1/2 of 2. Now, without doing any math, just using logic, what is half of 2? 1. So you don't need any math for simpler cases. Like whenever you are doing half times something, don't do any math, just use logic. Half of 8 is 4, half of 16 is 8. So anytime you have half of something, use your brain. So we have y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Y equals 1/2 x plus 1. And now what do we do? So we don't want the denominator 2. So we definitely need to multiply this by 2. But math is fair. If you multiply one term by 2, you must do same thing to the other terms. So multiply by 2, multiply by 2. Now 2 on the top, cancel the 2 on the bottom. In other words, half of 2 is 1 invisible. So we have 2y equals x plus 2. We are almost done. Now we have only one problem. X and y, they are not next to one another. So you have two choices. Either subtract the x, or you can subtract the 2y because the x is already positive. So it's up to you. Okay, so let's subtract 2y from both sides. So they cancel out. What do you have on the left side? We had 2y, but we subtracted the 2y. So what do we have? 0. We have nothing. And we have x minus 2y, and then the plus 2. Now this plus 2 is the third wheeler. We don't want any third wheel in our function, in one side. So how can you get rid of the 2? Subtract it. So now you're happy. We have x minus 2y in one side, and on the other side we have negative 2. But if you think this is confusing to you, no problem. I can do the old method. Second method. So we have 2y equals x plus 2. You can subtract your x, no problem. But then we end up getting another problem. Our x turned into a minus. Come on. We have minus x plus 2y equals 2. But we don't want to start our equation with a negative x. So we need to multiply. What's wrong with me? We need to multiply all of this by negative 1. As a result, everything will change their sign. This will turn into positive x. This will turn into negative 2y. And this will turn into a negative 2, which is the exact same thing we had here. So if you subtract x, you need to multiply by negative 1 at the end. If you subtract y, you need to get rid of the 2 from both sides. So same amount of work. Question. And guess what? You're going to see one of these in the final. They'll give you the slope and 1 point, and you need to find the equation of that. So 2 scenarios are done. In the first scenario, we had 2 points. We found the equation of the line. In the second scenario, we had 1 point and the slope. We found the equation of the line. And now they gave us only 1 point. They didn't give us any other point, or they didn't give us any slope. Since they give us only 1 point, so we actually don't need any math to find the equation of the line. Instead of using math, we are going to visualize what is happening here. They said find the equation of the horizontal line that goes through this point. How do we draw horizontal line? Straight left to right. So let's visualize. Let's see what do we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 here. This is the point 4, negative 4. How can you draw a horizontal line to this point? It goes straight left and straight to your right. Straight left, straight right. Did this line touches x-axis anywhere? No. So it's only touching the y-axis. Through which y value? Negative 4. So what's the equation of this line? Y equals negative 4. We cannot have x and y here. We can only have y because this line is touching only the y. It's not touching x, so how can we have an equation like this one here, x and y? You see the point? When we have 2 points, we can have x and y because we have 2 points. When they give us a slope and 1 point, we can have a line this format because we can plug them into the format. But in this scenario, they're only asking to write them the horizontal line or the vertical line. So all you can do is plot the points and see where we are crossing. Are you crossing the x-axis or are you crossing the y-axis? If you cross the y-axis, it means we have equation y equals that number, the y value. And if they ask you to find the vertical line, what would be the equation of the vertical line? X equals positive 4. Not y, because y is here. Look at the vertical line. They didn't ask, but we are doing something extra. Let's say they're asking to find the vertical line. So vertical line goes straight up and down. So you see, vertical line crosses only the x-axis. It never touches the y. So since it's only crossing the x here, so equation of the line is x equals 4. Because this is the 4 here. So this is vertical line. And this is horizontal line. That's all you have to do. Plot the points and then see the equation of the line. And if you can only visualize everything, then all you need is this equation. Now, another extra question. What will be the slope of this line? 0. Great. Every horizontal line has slope 0 because you're working on a flat surface. We're not going up or down, so it doesn't have anything. How about the slope of a vertical line? Undefined. So this line has a slope that doesn't exist. Undefined. They didn't ask us, we just did everything for practice because we don't know what you see, what you're going to see in the homework. Most likely you're not going to see this in the final because this is too easy, but this is from the homework. So you're going to see them in the homework and probably in the quiz. You try the next one. Done. Ready? So what type of line has undefined slope? Vertical line. That means they're asking us to write a vertical line through this point. So how you're going to write it? Up, down, or left, right?
Up, down.
Up, down. Vertical. So it goes straight up and down. So what do you notice? It's touching where?
The y axis, the x axis.
So what is the equation of this line?
X equals
X equals -1/2. It is touching only the x-axis, so it should be x equals wherever you're crossing the x-axis. They didn't ask us, but for extra practice, what would be the equation of the horizontal line? What equals -5? Every equation has to be variable. So horizontal line has y equals -5. And what you draw here is the vertical line. The vertical line has x equals the x value. Horizontal line has y equals the y value. It's y equals because we are crossing the y-axis through the -5. Question. Second, probably this will not be in the exam, probably, I'm not sure, but maybe in the final exam also you're not going to see this. But you need it for the homework. And also we need it for this concept. So that brings us to the next topic. Our next topic is finding parallel and perpendicular line. Now, two lines are parallel if they have the same slope. So parallel lines means they never intersect one another. Never. And in order to guarantee that they'll never intersect one another, we have to go with the same slope. That's why they have same slope. If one line is increasing, its parallel also has to be another increasing line. If one line is decreasing, its parallel line must be another decreasing line. If one line is horizontal, its parallel also has to be horizontal. If one line is going vertically, its parallel also has to be go vertically. It's another vertical line. So see, they will never touch one another because they are going with the same slope. On the other hand, perpendicular lines are special type of line. They intersect one another, but they don't intersect just anywhere. They intersect with a special angle. How do they intersect? How do two perpendicular lines intersect with what angle? Do you know? Not really. Like where they intersect, what type of angle they make? Like, okay, let me ask you this. Are these two lines perpendicular? How do you know? What do you notice? With what degree? Not every types of line are perpendicular, right? Is this perpendicular? Are these perpendicular? So which of these scenarios is perpendicular? Two of these are perpendicular. True. How do you know? What do you observe? Exactly. These two are not perpendicular because the intersection doesn't create a 90-degree angle. In order to be perpendicular, there is one condition. You have to have the intersection 90-degree angle. And now right angle. Right angle, yeah. Right angle is a 90-degree angle. So did you tell me right angle before? Actually, I didn't hear you right angle. Sorry. So the intersection has to be 90-degree, which is right angle. Yeah. So in order to guarantee that 90-degree intersection, we have two conditions. One is they have to have completely opposite slope. And they have to have opposite sign. For example, here, this line has what type of slope? Positive or negative? Positive. But look at the perpendicular line. What type of slope it has? Negative. So this is positive, let's say 2. Then this is negative, but it's not negative 2. It's completely opposite of 2. What is the completely opposite of 2? Negative 1/2. So the signs are different and the fraction, the number has to be flipped opposite, okay? Only then we have 90-degree angles in the intersection. And one interesting thing is that if we add the two slopes, their product will always give you -1. For example, here, if you multiply 2 with -1/2, the positive and negative will give you a negative result. And what is half of 2? 1. See the product? The product is -1. So if you multiply the slope of two perpendicular lines, it's always -1. So in the exam, you can actually check your work, multiply the two slopes. If you get -1, that means your answer is correct. Otherwise, it's not correct. So in the exam, they're going to ask you this type of question. Find the slope of the parallel and perpendicular line of this given line. Okay, so they give us a line. We don't know yet what type of line it is, increasing or decreasing. We don't know. Just know it's a line, and we want to know what is the slope of its parallel line and of its perpendicular line. So what can we do? They just give us the equation of the line. What do we need from the equation of this line? What formula?
Those ones.
Yeah, so what? What?
Parallel lines.
It didn't have any
So
formula.
M1 equals M2 and M1 equals -1/M2. It's the second. Well, X is the second column.
It's the second power, it's just 2. It's still a number. Why? Why do we need that? Flow. So main thing about parallel and perpendicular, all of this is the slope. We have to see the slope. Do we see the slope here? No. So if you don't see the slope, what do you do? Convert into. We did this before, I think in the first day of class or second day of class. We converted into what format? Mx plus b. Because see, this is the slope we are looking for. Convert, if you don't see the slope in an equation, no problem, don't worry. We know how to convert this into some format so that you can see the slope. So in order to convert that means we have to solve for y, get the y alone. So it is our first step to get the y alone. Subtract 7x. So we get 6y equals -7x plus 11 or minus 11? Plus. And then, lastly, what do you do? Our goal is to get the y alone. Is our y alone? So how can you get it alone? By 6. So you divide each term individually by 6. So we get y equals -7/6x and then 11/6. Now, do we know the slope of this line? Yes, it's -7/6. That will help us to get the slope of parallel line. These two symbol, it means parallel. So slope of the parallel line, and the upside down T symbol, it means perpendicular. So parallel, we represent that by parallel lines, and perpendicular, we represent that by this thingy, upside down T, because we have a 90 degree in the intersection. So if this line has a slope -7/6, what is the slope of its parallel line? Exact same thing, -7/6. Remember, parallel lines, they have to have the same slope. So this line has this, its parallel line must have to have the exact same. And perpendicular line has to have the completely opposite one. So what would be the slope for the perpendicular line? Huh? 6/7. 6/7. So you have minus, it will turn into a plus. Now we have 7 on the top, 6 on the bottom. Remember I said it's completely opposite. So you have to flip 6/7. We call them negative reciprocal. It means we are taking the opposite sign and flipped version of the fraction. Now let me show you a shortcut way to find the slope of the given line. Okay. Shortcut. Let me use blue. shortcut to find slope from a line. What is the shortcut? It's opposite sign of the coefficient of the x divided by coefficient of the y. It's a shortcut. Whatever coefficient you have for the x, you divide that by whatever coefficient you have for the y, and then you change the sign. Look at here. Our x has 7, y has 6. So 7 over 6 with a negative sign. See, 7 over 6 is a negative sign. It's a shortcut version. You divide the x coefficient by the y coefficient, including their sign, and then you change the sign.
And that would be the slope.
Slope of the given line.
Without having to solve like that.
Like you don't have to solve this. So you can save you time in the shortcut. Now you try one. What is the slope of its parallel line and perpendicular line? You can try fast doing the shortcut just for fun. And if you think you are lost, then try the traditional method, solve for y. So it's opposite sign times coefficient of the x divided by coefficient of the y. Who came late? 2 person, 3? Okay, your name? Jolene, okay. Say it again. Ramos. Oh, Melvillis. And lastly, you, Stephanie, okay. Tiffany. Abraham, no. Gavin, Simon, no. Hassan, Jubair. Okay. 3 absent, not bad. Are you guys ready? Okay, let's see whom to call. Anji, can you help me? Finding the slope of this line. So traditional method is subtract 5x from both sides. What do you have on the left side now? Negative 8y. Wonderful. And then? Negative 8, negative 8, negative 8. So what do you have? 5 over 8, because the x on the top, the negative on the top cancel the negative on the bottom. And then what is 40 divided by negative 8? Negative 5. So what is the slope of this line? Perfect. This is the slope of this line. So it says take the coefficient of x divided by coefficient of y. So what's the coefficient of x? Let me write shortcut 5. And what's the coefficient of the y? Negative, including the sign. And then you change the sign. So what do you have? No, it changed the sign for entire thingy. Positive 5/8. My pen is not working. Positive 5/8.
But you see how the negative is outside of the parentheses, you're changing the sign. It doesn't affect the numerator at all.
No, because our goal, so we found that this is negative. That means our slope has to be opposite of negative, which is positive. A shortcut. Okay, now who would like to give me the slope of the parallel line? Slope of the parallel line. Who? Same thing, 5/8. Eric, give me the slope of the perpendicular line. Wonderful. Opposite sign, flip your fraction. Cool, right? I'm giving you another final exam question. So how many final exam questions I have given you so far? Around 6, 7, right? So you see, in the line section from chapter 3, you already have at least 6 to 7 questions in the final exam. Each of them are 3.5. So if you multiply 7 times 3.5, you have more than 21. More than 21 points. And you need only 50 points to pass the final. I'm helping you passing your final. So any question on this topic? No? So next, we are going to use this knowledge to find the equation of the parallel or perpendicular line. And we are doing the exact same thing what we did in our first question today. We have a slope and a point. All you have to do is substitute into the function, into the line, y minus y1 equals slope x minus x1, and then simplify. So it says find the equation of the line parallel or perpendicular to this line that goes through the point 6, 7. So they gave us this line only because we need to see the slope of this line. Slope of this line will tell us what would be the slope of the parallel line and slope of the perpendicular line. Did you understand the scenario? What is given now? So they said, what is the, okay, let's say perpendicular is like that, okay, let's do parallel. What is the equation of the line parallel to this line? And the parallel line goes to the point 6, 7. What type of line is this? Increasing or decreasing? Increasing, right? Because our slope is positive. So if you want to see visually, this is what is happening. We have an increasing line. And they gave us a point 6, 7, somewhere here. They want us to find a line that is parallel to that line, but goes to the point 6, 7. So this parallel line has one information directly given to us. It's the point x1, y1. Now, if you have a point, to find the equation of the line, we need just the slope. They didn't give us the slope of the parallel line directly, but they gave us something which will help us to get the slope of this parallel line. They gave us the equation of this line. So from this equation of the line, can you get the slope of this line? Slope of this line and the parallel line, they have the same slope, right? Because they're parallel line. So if you know what is the slope of this line, and this line is y equals 1/4 of x minus 3. If you know what is the slope of this line, you can apply that slope in this line, right? So what is the slope of this line? 1/4. That means what will be the slope of the parallel line? 1/4. So this parallel line has slope 1/4, and they give us x1, y1, which is 6, 7. Now this parallel line has 0.67, has slope 1/4. Can you find out the equation of this parallel line? You already know this, right? Because we did it in the first example today. When one slope and 1 point is given, when the slope and 1 point is given, all you have to do is substitute and simplify. So all this scenario, we start from the original line. Our original line is y equals 1/4 of x minus 3. We care about this line only because of the slope that tells us slope of the parallel line. And this parallel line also has our point x1, y1 as 6, 7. So to find the equation of the parallel line, what's wrong with me? Equation of the parallel line, we go to the format y minus y1 slope times x minus x1. So what do you do? Y minus what? 6. No. Y minus what? 7. What's the slope? 1/4. X minus 6. Well, we would be done because they didn't mention what format the final answer is, and they didn't give us any multiple choice. So if you stop here, no problem. We found the equation of the line. But let's say in the final exam, they didn't give us they gave us the multiple choice. I just don't have it here. And the multiple choice follows the standard format. So you have to work more. What do we do next to So y minus 7, 1/4 of x, and then we have plus 1/4 of negative 6, or negative 1/4 of 6, whatever you want to think. What do we have here? Negative 6/4. Can we reduce this? By what? By 2. So it becomes negative 3/2. So we have y minus 7, 1/4 of x minus 3/2. Let me also show you a shortcut. So we have 1/4 of negative 6. Now this negative 6 is on the top or on the bottom? Top. And this 4 is on the top or on the bottom? Bottom, right? So as long as one is on the top, one is on the bottom, we are allowed to cancel them. But this time we cannot directly cancel them because they're not divisible one by another one, right? But we can cancel both of them by what? 2. So 2 goes to 4 how many times? Twice. And 2 goes to 6 how many times? 3. And now what do we have on the top? 1 times 3. Negative 3. That gives us negative 3. And what is left on the bottom? 2. So it's negative 3/2, which is exactly same as this one. I'm showing you shortcut because sometimes this number will be big. So if you multiply them, you end up getting a bigger number. And then you don't know how to simplify them. And you're not also allowed to use calculator. So you'll get stuck. So instead of making things bigger, try to make them smaller by canceling. You're always allowed to cancel if one of them is on the top, one of them is in the bottom. Okay? So we have y minus 7 equals 1/4 of x minus 3/2. What do you observe on the denominator? Do we have the same number? No. But in order to get rid of the denominator, we have to get rid of both of them. So by what we should multiply? If you multiply by 2, only these 2 will get rid of. We can get rid of these 2. We cannot get rid of that because 2 is smaller, 4 is bigger.
It would be 4.
So when you have two different denominators, multiply by the bigger one, or if they don't have anything common, multiply by the LCD. Do you remember how to find LCD? Least common multiple. It means the biggest number, the smallest big number, you can divide by both of them. We are going to do LCD later in one big section. We're going to talk about LCD of numbers, rational, everything. But for now, between 2 and 4, 4 is bigger, so LCD is 4. So we need to multiply by 4 instead of 2. So multiply by 4, multiply by 4, multiply by 4, multiply by 4. So we are happy because 4 cancel out. And for 2, we can do shortcut. 4 is on the top, 2 is on the bottom. So we can cancel them. 2 goes to 4 how many times? Twice. And now what do we have on the top? 3 and 2. So that gives us 6. From the x, what is left? Only 1x. And we have 4y minus 7 times 4. 7 times 4 is 24. 20 what? 28. Okay, so we are almost happy. We have no more fraction, but we're still unhappy because our x and y are not together. What can you do? Next step. There are many ways you can do the next step. What do you want to do? What do your head is your brain is telling you to do? Minus the 4y, okay. No problem. Many ways you can do this, okay? So if you minus the 4y, we have negative 28 equals x minus 4y, and we still have another 6 with that. Are we happy? Not yet. We are happy a little bit, not completely. So what is the last step to make us complete happy? Add the 6. We don't need this 6. This is extra. So we get rid of that. And now you're very happy. One side has x minus 4y. And what do we have on the other side? Negative 22. Negative 22. And now we are happy, very, very happy. Because we have standard format where x and y together. X is positive and nothing has fraction. You can do that, but every time you have to simplify. Anytime you do something and simplificable, you simplify. And then you can multiply everything by 4, and then you simplify later. Because you're supposed to get the same result. So if you don't make any mistake, you'll end up getting the same thing. So in the middle, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as it's a valid step, no problem. So this is the equation of the parallel line. But we still have to find the equation of the perpendicular line. So go ahead, you do it. So the original line, let me start. Our original line was y equals 1/4 of x minus 3. And this time we are finding the perpendicular line. And it goes through the point x1, y1, same point, 6, 7. So what is the slope of the perpendicular line? See, 1/4 is the original line. Its slope has to be opposite. So it's negative because original has positive. And if you flip 1/4, it becomes 4/1, which is simply 4. So perpendicular lines, they have completely opposite slope. The original one has slope 1/4. Perpendicular has to be negative, flip 4/1. It will become a whole number. So go ahead, find the equation of this perpendicular line. Y minus y1, slope x minus x. And you have only 4 more minutes, so do it fast. And anything that acts from right to the left. They want to give you links everybody, as long as not make one can decide you have to make.
Well, I think that we just get it like this.
Oh, it's hard for him to be a two minutes to it. But he has to do. That's your point. It's perfectly fine. Only for them to keep having a time, matching them to the numbers. And extra limit cost. Actually, the cost of the.
Right.
Thank you. And when time everyone, yeah. How many ways? How many ways next? Oh, no. Your y is flat, right? It's usually flat. Okay, we have 0 minute. Let's see how can I do this in 0 minute. We have y minus y1. What is our y1?
One is negative.
Positive 7. And slope? X minus 6. Next step, distribute. So negative 4x plus 24. Next step, we can bring the numbers. So y equals negative 4x plus 31. Another last step.
I'll move forward to the other side.
So we add the 4x and we got our equation. 4x plus y. 31.
Put forward.
It's x, x. 0 minute, okay? 0 minute catching my head. See, 4x plus y 31 is the perpendicular line. On the other hand, x minus 4y equals 22, negative 22 is a parallel line. So in our next class, 3.5. So in our next class, we are going to go on the last scenario, and then we will move to chapter 6. Sorry, not chapter 6. Section 3.6.
So if we're doing this, we're doing the base of the y because I'm not supposed to. So how come this isn't the
Oh, no. We convert into y equals mx plus b to get the slope. The original, the final equation is the standard form.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
when is this going to do my calculation?
Next week, Monday midnight.
Okay, so there's not time to put Okay.
Because we didn't complete 3.5 yet. So do 3.5. Once you're done with 3.5, then you can do quiz 1.
Got it, okay.
Hello. Thank you for helping me.
Medicine, oh.
I just have one question. I don't think they still go into my math line if the shit that's closed, right?
No, it shouldn't.
Okay, have a good one.
The homework is on my math.
Huh?
So, that